today we have UN Resident Coordinator in Kazakhstan, Sarangoo Radnaaragchaa, with us. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So what does your appointment as the UN Resident Coordinator in Kazakhstan mean? And I would like to ask you, what do you consider your top priorities for the early stages of your mandate?
Yes. So thank you very much for this invitation. And as you know, that I started quite recently. I just completed my 2 months, the first 2 months, and it's really a great honor to serve as the United Nations Resident Coordinator in Kazakhstan. And recently, I presented my credentials to His Excellency, Mr. President. And in the past 2 months, I really lived very vibrant, very active time here in Kazakhstan from day one, I would say. As you have seen, probably the United Nations Secretary General visited Kazakhstan and Almaty. And also in the past 2 months, I've had the chance already to visit two regions. The first one was to Kizilorda to join the first ever National Urban Forum organized also by the Akimat of Kizilorda together with UN Habitat colleagues. And then also in Aktau, so I joined the meeting of the Ministers of Environment of Central Asia to prepare the next year important event, Regional Ecological Summit. And actually next week I'm going again to Kizilorda to join WHO colleagues to visit the Aral Sea area, the region, to looking into the impact of climate change and also the Aral Sea crisis on the health of local population. In terms of priorities, yes, in fact, I would say like three top priorities. The first one is continuing to strengthen our excellent partnership and cooperation with the government, building on the great examples of the previous years, and also promote and strengthen inclusiveness. So inclusiveness means that really like following the principle of leaving no one behind. So it's also including women, girls, young people, persons with disabilities, so that really like no one is left behind when we talk about the economic development, when we talk about the social protection programs. And then third, I would say priority is really on environment and climate change, I would say, because as I previously mentioned, the Kazakhstan will host the Regional Ecological Summit next year in April. And this is very important in the context of as we witness the impact of climate change and also environmental issues in the region. So my three top priorities will be these what I mentioned.
So you mentioned environmental challenges. I would like to ask the question about it. So Kazakhstan is facing serious environmental issues, be it from Aral Sea crisis to the disposal of industrial waste. So what do you see, what priority do you see for the UN Kazakhstan cooperation in this environmental sphere, like in details?
We have several agencies working very closely with the government and also with the regions and also with stakeholder groups, with people, local people on the environmental domain. And I would say that the priority is really water management because due to climate change and also unsustainable use of water resources, Kazakhstan is facing and will face even further the water stress, water scarcity, water supply. And also, as you mentioned, the industrial waste, the waste management, I would say that everybody would agree that, this is also one of the priorities where also UN agencies are working through many different programs.
And you have specialized in transboundary cooperation. In your opinion, what environmental issues in Central Asia need coordination with neighboring countries?
Indeed, environmental issues are not stopped by borders, by country borders.
Yeah.
Let's take a water, right? Because water is traveling across all borders, countries. So this is a transboundary resource. Air pollution, air also doesn't stop at the border. So if you pollute in one country, it immediately affects the neighboring country. The same thing, there are many issues, so for example, biodiversity conservation, especially for migratory species. So you cannot stop the migration of wildlife species, right? So it really requires a lot of cooperation. So water has been really like a top priority for Central Asian countries for many years, because really countries are interconnected through shared water resources. So let's take from the top, right? So the water is coming, as we know, from the glaciers. So glaciers, then rivers, it going down to downstream countries. And then it's just recently, I've been also moderating one panel discussion. One researcher said actually glacier is melting, of course, certainly to temperature rise and also climate change impact, but it also accelerates by the salt dust coming from the dried Ara seabed. So you see, like it's really like the whole cycle of impact, Later is air pollution, because again, same thing, the dust and storm traveling from one source to other destinations and affecting the health, uh, the, the health of local population in another country. So it really requires, like knowing where these source emissions are coming from, and then how we basically analyze this, and then how we put forward some scenario and modeling, so what we could do collectively. So that's really like, requires a lot of cooperation efforts. And in that sense, Kazakhstan is also leading in many fronts.
So how will UN help Kazakhstan to support its transition to green economy, and talking about the climate change as well?
Mm-hmm. So the first really one of the areas that many UN agencies here in Kazakhstan working is to supporting the country in the development of policies, strategies, like long-term programs. So this is something really like at the level of policy support. And as you know, that the UN country team is very big, so it's the 27 agencies, and each of them has technical expertise according to their mandate. And and these technical expertise are very useful to help to support the government in developing policies. So, for example, like Kazakhstan has the carbon neutrality policy until 2060. So, for that also the UN has contributed with its expertise, with its input. So, and then there's also like a green economy, there is a water strategy. So for each area, we are really putting the technical support to policies and strategies. But also, it's not only limited to policy. Of course, also the UN implement, pilot initiatives in the regions, to in particular area, and which later could be like scaled up for nationwide big projects. So these are the two things. And also, like thirdly, the UN is supporting to introduce and apply international norms and standards. So this is also important area, because many UN agencies also secretariats are hosting the international multilateral conventions. So through these multilateral agreements, the UN is also helping the country to apply those norms and standards.
Yeah. And I see a lot of SDGs, so I'd like to ask you about this. So Kazakhstan is actually working to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah.
And which of these SDGs, in your opinion, require more attention in the coming years?
So SDGs are until 2030, right? And it means that we have really like only 5 years left. So there is a lot of need. There are a lot of needs, to accelerate the process to achieve as many as possible SDGs and also SDG targets. So let me just say one statistic that Kazakhstan is actually performing very well. So compared to global average, which is 17%, so Kazakhstan is almost 40% on the track or already like achieved. So it's a very good achievement, very good performance result, right? But still, it means that there are some still work to do. And if you compare between 17 SDGs, so certainly probably there is a need to accelerate on SDG 7, so which is really like transitioning to green transitions, which is like about increasing the share of renewable energy and also like increasing the effectiveness and energy efficiency. So SDG 7, I would say, and SDG 13, certainly, like CO2 emissions needs to be further decreased. So this is about our climate action. And then 15, also very important. This is about life on land, and it's about also like a biodiversity conservation. Of course, the Kazakhstan is achieving a lot of good results, but the further, there should be like a further also strengthening and making efforts to achieve the SDG 15. So I would say like few SDGs would require further attention. Yeah.
And what approaches do you consider most effective in engaging local communities for natural resource management projects?
So this is my favorite topic because in my previous assignments, I've been working actually a lot at the local level, implementing several projects, on natural resource management, but always involving local communities. So there is a saying that, when I see it, I will forget. When you show me, I might remember. But when you involve me, I will understand. So, which means that, you really need to engage the local communities at the outset of your activities, of your project, of your program, so that they really feel this ownership over the project results. So this is the approach basically should be really taken into account when you design the project and program, so that really like listening to local people, what their needs, what their plans, like what they would like to achieve. And then if you engage them throughout the whole project and programs, you will get like a better results, and then you ensure the sustainability. Because once the communities own this process, they will continue doing it on their own.
Recently, President of Kazakhstan, so it's like another topic, but it's still related to climate change. So, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, he addressed to the nation about that Kazakhstan will focus on the implementing of AI and digitalization. So AI will be implemented in different spheres. And I would like to ask you your opinion on that, because the AI is a very like a broad term, like that will be related to like each sphere, including ecology as well.
Again, use of AI tools, and also digitalization, especially the digitalization has been also one of the priorities of UN work, in at least like in the past 5 years, I would say. And the Secretary General was also like promoting this UN 2.0 policy, right? So it's really about the data, not only limited to digitalization, but also like data, collection of data, quality data, and interpretation of data, data management, and also the use of digital tools. And indeed, like in our work, in some agencies, for example, also FAO, when they work for agriculture, they also use, like AI tools to predict, like basically the water supply, or check the salinity, or like a water, like humidity, etc. So there are certainly like many tools available, and already advanced tools, which could really like accelerate the process of sustainable natural resource management. So but then on the other hand, like, and I also like heard the president's speech, we also need to look into the cybersecurity, like these are the like both sides, right? Like on one side, the AI is this important tool to advance economic development, and even linked to education and etc. But on the other hand, so we should be also looking into the security aspects, because again, and then these two sides need to be taken very carefully into account.
Thank you. And before we close, I would like to ask you, maybe you have something to add. Maybe we haven't covered something yet.
Yes, so So I would like to also mention that 5 years left until 2030, and we recently signed our United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework. So this is the 5-year program or plan between the government and entire UN, like the whole UN country team here in Kazakhstan. And this really coincides very nicely until 2030, 5 years left. So it's really like a kind of last 5 years
Yeah.
that we need to put all our efforts to accelerate the achievement of SDGs. And we will be launching it very soon, so most probably in October. And also it coincides very nicely with the commemoration of the UN 80. So UN was
Yeah.
founded in 1945. So this year we are marking the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. So in that context, we will be also organizing several events dedicated to this anniversary. And of course, we would like to celebrate it together with everyone. It's with all stakeholders, the government, the people, international development partners, stakeholder groups. So this is I would like to mention at the end, and we are very much looking forward to contribute to the prosperity of the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining Kazinform News Agency.
Thank
Thank you.